What if the most insane production motorcycle on the planet just got even bigger, even more powerful, and even more unbelievable? Meet the 2026 Triumph Rocket 3R 2500, a machine that doesn't just break the rules of motorcycling, it completely destroys them. The moment you hear 2500cc, you already know this isn't normal, this isn't a cruiser, this isn't a naked bike, this is something else entirely. A mechanical monster built for one purpose, to dominate everything in its path. And here's the crazy part. Triumph didn't tone it down, they pushed it further. More power, more torque, more attitude. This is the kind of bike that makes even experienced riders stop and think twice. So the question is this still a motorcycle? Or has it become something else entirely? Because once you understand what this machine is capable of, there's no going back. Let's talk about the heart of the 2026 Triumph Rocket 3R 2500, because this is where things get absolutely insane. A massive 2500cc inline 3-cylinder engine sits at the center of this beast, delivering numbers that feel almost unreal. We're talking about over 180 horsepower and an insane level of torque that hits instantly. Twist the throttle, and the bike doesn't just accelerate, it launches. This isn't gradual power, this is explosive, immediate force that pushes you back with authority, and yet, somehow it's still smooth, controlled, refined. This is engineering at its absolute peak. Triumph didn't just build a big engine, they built a usable one, and that's what makes it so dangerous and so addictive. What if one of the most overlooked cruisers just made the biggest comeback of the year? The 2026 Suzuki Intruder C800 is stepping out of the shadows, and it's bringing a level of surprise that's catching riders completely off guard. For years, this name quietly existed in the background, never chasing headlines, never demanding attention. But now, something has changed. The moment you see it, there's a sense that Suzuki is no longer playing it safe. This isn't just a refresh, it feels like a statement, a declaration that you don't need to follow trends to build something incredible. And that's exactly what makes this bike so intriguing. Because while everyone else is focused on high-powered giants and flashy tech, this machine is doing something different. It's going back to the core of what makes a cruiser enjoyable. And in doing so, it might have just created one of the most compelling options of 2026. The real question is, why didn't we see this coming? The design of the 2026 Suzuki Intruder C800 walks a fine line between classic and modern, and somehow, it nails both. At first glance, you get that timeless cruiser silhouette, low seat, stretched lines, and a presence that feels grounded and confident. But look closer, and subtle details begin to stand out. The finishes feel sharper, the proportions more refined, and the overall stance more deliberate. It's not trying to be flashy, it's trying to be right. And that's a big difference. Because in a world where motorcycles often compete for attention with bold styling choices, this bike takes a more confident approach. It doesn't need to shout. It simply exists. And that presence speaks for itself. And for many riders, that's exactly what they've been waiting for. Something that feels authentic, not forced. Something that respects tradition while still moving forward. And that's where this bike starts to feel special. What if a motorcycle everyone thought was fading away suddenly came back sharper, smarter, and more unstoppable than ever? Meet the 2026 Yamaha FJR1300 AS, a machine that refuses to disappear. In a world obsessed with adventure bikes and futuristic electronics, this legendary sport tourer quietly returns to prove one thing: real performance never goes out of style. At first glance, it looks familiar, classic, almost unchanged. But that's exactly what Yamaha wants you to think. Because underneath that timeless design lies a level of refinement that takes this bike to a completely new level. This isn't just an update, it's a statement. A reminder that some machines don't need to reinvent themselves, they just need to get better. So the question is Did Yamaha just perfect one of the greatest touring bikes ever made? Or is there something even more surprising hiding beneath the surface? Let's get straight to the heart of the 2026 Yamaha FJR1300 AS, because this is where the magic begins. Powered by a 1,298cc inline-4 engine, this bike delivers a perfect balance of smoothness and power. It's not wild or unpredictable. It's controlled, refined, and incredibly capable. Twist the throttle, and the acceleration comes on strong but steady, pushing you forward with confidence. This isn't about sudden bursts, it's about sustained performance. The kind that makes highway riding feel effortless and overtaking, feel almost too easy. And that's what makes it special. It doesn't demand attention. It earns it through consistency. This is an engine built for long distances, high speeds, and complete reliability. What if one of the most dependable touring motorcycles just came back stronger, smarter, and more refined than ever? Meet the 2026 new Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Voyager, a full-size touring machine that refuses to fade away in a world dominated by flashy competitors. At first glance, it looks like a classic highway cruiser, big fairing, large saddlebags, and that unmistakable long-distance silhouette. But here's the shocking part. This isn't just a carryover model. It's a refined evolution of a proven platform that continues to deliver exactly what real riders need: comfort, reliability, and serious road presence. And in 2026, it still stands tall against newer, more tech-heavy machines. So the question is, did Kawasaki quietly perfect the touring formula? Or is this just an old-school bike trying to keep up with modern expectations? Because once you take a closer look at what this machine offers, you might realize it's exactly what touring riders have been looking for all along. At the core of the 2026 new Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Voyager is a proven 1,700cc V-twin engine designed specifically for long-distance riding. This engine isn't about speed or aggressive acceleration. It's about smooth, reliable torque that makes every mile feel effortless. Twist the throttle, and you get a steady, predictable surge of power that's perfectly suited for highway cruising. This is the kind of engine that doesn't stress, doesn't struggle, and doesn't demand constant attention. It just works. And that's exactly what you want on a touring bike. Whether you're riding solo or fully loaded with luggage and a passenger, it delivers consistent performance without hesitation. This is power you can trust. What if the ultimate American touring motorcycle didn't come from who you expected? What if the throne was already being taken, quietly, confidently, and with zero compromise? Meet the 2026 Indian Pursuit Limited Premium, a machine so advanced, so luxurious, and so unapologetically bold, it's forcing the entire industry to pay attention. This isn't just another big touring bike. This is a full-blown luxury cruiser built for riders who want everything: power, comfort, technology, and presence. And the moment you see it, you know it's different. That aggressive fairing, those sculpted lines, the premium finishes. It doesn't just look expensive, it feels like the future. But here's the real shock. Once you ride it, everything else suddenly feels outdated. This bike doesn't just compete, it dominates. So the real question is, has Indian just built the best touring motorcycle of 2026? Or is this level of perfection too good to be true? Let's talk about what's hiding underneath all that luxury: the engine. Because the 2026 Indian Pursuit Limited Premium is powered by the Power Plus 108, a liquid-cooled V-twin that completely changes the game. This isn't your typical air-cooled cruiser engine. It's modern, refined, and built for serious performance. We're talking about strong horsepower, massive torque, and a smoothness that feels almost unreal for a bike this size. Twist the throttle, and instead of a slow, heavy response, you get instant, controlled acceleration. It pulls hard, stays consistent, and never feels like it's struggling. Whether you're cruising at low speeds or blasting down the highway, The power delivery is seamless, and that's what makes it so impressive. It's not just powerful, it's usable. It's predictable. It's confidence-inspiring. This is the kind of engine that makes long-distance riding effortless and addictive. Now here's where things get seriously impressive: the ride quality. The 2026 Indian Pursuit Limited Premium comes equipped with electronically adjustable rear suspension that transforms how this bike handles the road. One moment you're gliding over rough pavement like it's nothing, the next you're carving through long, sweeping curves with total control. It adapts, it adjusts. It works with you, not against you. And that's a huge deal for a bike this big, because let's be honest, touring bikes aren't always known for their agility. But this one? It feels planted, stable, and surprisingly responsive. The weight disappears once you're moving, replaced by a sense of confidence that makes you want to keep riding. Longer, faster, further. This isn't just comfort. It's precision engineering designed to give you the best possible experience on every road. What if the cruiser you thought you knew wasn't the one you should be riding anymore? The 2026 Harley-Davidson Low Rider S has entered the scene with a level of attitude that feels almost disruptive. This isn't just another update. It's a bold move that challenges everything riders expect from a modern Harley. At first glance, it looks familiar: dark, aggressive, stripped down, and unapologetically raw. But spend a few seconds longer, and something feels different. There's a sharper edge, a more focused presence, like this bike is built with a purpose, beyond just cruising. And that's where the intrigue begins. Because Harley-Davidson isn't known for taking risks like this, yet here we are. Riders are starting to whisper about it, forums are lighting up, and even loyal fans are asking the same question: is this the future of performance cruisers? Or is it something even bigger? Whatever it is, one thing's clear: you're going to want to see what happens next. The design of the 2026 Harley-Davidson Low Rider S doesn't scream for attention, it demands it. Everything about this bike feels intentional, from the blacked-out finishes to the aggressive stance that looks ready to launch even when parked. The compact fairing adds a performance-driven edge, hinting that this isn't just about looks, it's about speed, control, and rider focus. And then, there's the riding position. It's not laid back like a traditional cruiser. It leans slightly forward, pulling you into the experience instead of letting you sit back and watch it happen. That subtle shift changes everything. It makes the bike feel alive, like it's constantly urging you to push harder, ride faster, and explore its limits. And that's exactly what sets it apart. This isn't a cruiser that wants to relax, it wants to perform. And once you realize that, you start to see it in a completely different light. The 2026 BMW K1600B is not just a motorcycle, it's a statement that refuses to whisper. The moment you lay eyes on its stretched silhouette and aggressive bagger stance, you realize this machine was built to dominate highways and turn every head within a mile radius. But here's the twist nobody tells you up front. Beneath that sleek, almost intimidating exterior lies one of the most technologically advanced touring machines ever created. Riders expecting just another luxury cruiser are in for a shock, because this bike blends brute force with surgical precision in a way that feels almost unfair to everything else on the road. And once you hear what powers this beast, you might start questioning everything you thought you knew about performance touring. At the heart of the 2026 K1600B sits a monstrous inline-six engine, and yes, it's as insane as it sounds. This isn't just about raw horsepower, though it has plenty of that. It's about how effortlessly that power is delivered. Twist the throttle and the bike doesn't just accelerate, it surges forward like it's bending space itself. What makes it even more shocking is how smooth it feels. You'd expect something this powerful to be aggressive or even unruly, but instead it glides. It's the kind of engine that makes long-distance rides feel shorter and short rides feel addictive. And once you experience that seamless wave of torque, going back to anything less will feel like a compromise. What if everything you thought you knew about cruiser motorcycles was about to be flipped upside down? The 2026 Suzuki Boulevard C90T isn't just another update, it's a statement. A bold, unapologetic machine that dares to challenge the giants of the cruiser world. Riders who once swore loyalty to traditional American iron are starting to take a second look, and for good reason. This bike blends classic touring DNA with modern refinement in a way that feels almost unfair at its price point. The moment you lay eyes on it, there's an undeniable presence, low-slung, stretched out, and dripping with chrome confidence. But looks can be deceiving. Beneath that vintage-inspired exterior lies a surprisingly modern riding experience that feels smoother, more refined, and more accessible than many of its rivals. The real question is, why is no one talking about it louder? Is this the hidden gem of 2026, or is there something the industry doesn't want you to notice? Stick around, because what we're about to uncover might just change the way you see cruiser motorcycles forever. At first glance, the design of the 2026 Suzuki Boulevard C90T feels like a love letter to old-school touring culture. Massive fenders, studded leather saddlebags, and a commanding windshield give it that unmistakable long-haul identity. But here's the twist. This isn't just nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. Every element has been subtly refined for real-world usability. The ergonomics are dialed in for comfort, not just style, which means you can actually spend hours in the saddle without feeling like your spine is negotiating a surrender. The wide handlebars and relaxed foot positioning create a riding triangle that feels natural, even for newer riders stepping into the cruiser category. Yet, despite its approachable nature, the bike never loses its imposing stance. It still commands respect at every stoplight. And that's where the intrigue deepens. How did Suzuki manage to make something that looks this big feel so unintimidating? It's almost like they've cracked a formula others have been chasing for decades, and that's only the beginning of what makes this machine so unexpectedly compelling. What if your next ride didn't feel like a motorcycle at all, but like stepping into a private jet built for the highway? The 2026 BMW K1600 Grand America doesn't just enter the touring world, it completely redefines it. From the moment it rolls into view, you can tell this machine is playing a different game. It's bigger, more refined, and unapologetically luxurious. Every line, every surface, every detail screams premium in a way most motorcycles can't even approach. But here's the real twist. This isn't just about comfort and style. Hidden beneath that elegant design is serious, effortless power waiting to be unleashed. The kind of power that turns long-distance riding into something smooth, quiet, and dangerously addictive. So now the question changes. Is this really a motorcycle anymore? Or has BMW created something closer to a luxury aircraft on two wheels? At the heart of the 2026 BMW K1600 Grand America lies something truly rare. An inline-six engine that completely changes the riding experience. 6 cylinders working together in perfect harmony create a level of smoothness that feels almost unreal. The moment you twist the throttle, there's no harshness, no sudden jolt, just a seamless wave of power that builds effortlessly. It's fast, but it doesn't feel aggressive. It's powerful, but never overwhelming. This is precision engineering at its finest. Whether you're gliding down the highway or overtaking traffic, the response is instant and controlled. And then there's the sound, a smooth, turbine-like hum that grows into a refined roar as speed increases. It doesn't shout, it whispers power. This isn't just performance, it's a completely different way to experience it. What if the most legendary touring motorcycle ever built suddenly became even more comfortable, more stable, and somehow even more insane? Meet the 2026 Honda Goldwing Trike with CSC conversion kit, a machine that doesn't just redefine touring, it completely rewrites the rules. Because this isn't your typical motorcycle anymore. This is a three-wheeled luxury cruiser designed for riders who want ultimate comfort without sacrificing that iconic Goldwing experience. The moment you see it, it feels unreal. That massive front fairing, the wide rear stance, and the sheer presence of a trike that looks like it belongs on a different level entirely. But here's the twist. It's not just about looks. This thing is built for real-world domination. Long-distance touring, unmatched stability, and a riding experience so smooth it almost feels like cheating. And once you sit on it, once you feel that planted, confident stance, you realize something shocking. This might actually be easier, safer, and more enjoyable than a traditional two-wheel motorcycle. So now the question becomes, has the Goldwing just evolved into its final form? Or is this the most controversial transformation in motorcycle history? What if one of the most overlooked touring cruisers is actually one of the smartest choices you can make in 2026? Meet the Suzuki Boulevard C90T Boss. 2026. A machine that doesn't shout for attention, but quietly earns respect. At first glance, it looks familiar. A low, stretched stance, large saddlebags, and that signature blacked-out Boss styling that adds a subtle aggressive edge. But here's where it gets interesting. This bike isn't trying to compete with high-end, tech-loaded touring giants. Instead, it focuses on what riders actually use every day. Comfort, reliability, and real-world practicality. In a market filled with complex and expensive machines, that approach feels refreshing. So the real question is this cruiser a hidden gem waiting to be discovered, or is it simply too understated to stand out? Take a closer look, and your perspective might completely change. At the heart of the Suzuki Boulevard C90T Boss, 2026 is a 1,462cc V-twin engine designed with smoothness and reliability in mind. This isn't about chasing high horsepower numbers or aggressive acceleration. Instead, it delivers a calm, steady wave of torque that feels predictable and controlled. Twist the throttle, and the bike responds with a relaxed surge that makes long-distance riding effortless. It's the kind of power delivery that encourages you to settle into the ride rather than rush through it. Whether you're cruising highways or rolling through city streets, the engine remains smooth and composed. This balance makes it incredibly approachable for a wide range of riders. It's not trying to impress with raw performance, it's built to provide confidence, consistency, and comfort on every journey. What if one of the biggest, most comfortable touring motorcycles on the road is also one of the most underrated? Meet the 2026 Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Voyager, a machine that quietly delivers everything you expect from a full-dress touring bike and then goes even further. At first glance, it looks massive, classic, and built purely for long highways, but here's the shocking part. This bike isn't just about size or comfort. It's about delivering a complete riding experience that feels effortless from the moment you start the engine. And in 2026, it continues to stand strong in a segment dominated by big names and bold claims. So the question is, why aren't more riders talking about this machine? Is it hidden under the radar, or is it simply too traditional for modern tastes? Because once you take a closer look at what this bike offers, you might realize it deserves a lot more attention than it gets. At the heart of the 2026 Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Voyager is a powerful 1,700cc V-twin engine designed for one thing: long-distance performance. This engine isn't about aggressive speed or high-revving thrills. Instead, it focuses on delivering strong, consistent torque that makes every ride feel smooth and controlled. Twist the throttle, and the bike responds with a steady push forward that feels confident and reliable. This is the kind of power that makes highway cruising effortless. You're not constantly shifting or pushing the engine. You're simply riding. And that's exactly what a touring bike should offer. The power is always there when you need it, but it never feels overwhelming. It's calm, controlled, and perfectly suited for long journeys. What if a motorcycle could rival a luxury car, not just in price, but in comfort, technology, and presence? Meet the 2026 Indian Roadmaster Elite, a machine that doesn't just redefine touring, it completely elevates it. The moment you see it, you know this isn't an ordinary bike. The paint alone looks like it belongs in a museum. The chrome shines like jewelry, and the size? Absolutely commanding. But here's the shocking part. This isn't just about looks. This is one of the most advanced, most comfortable, and most powerful touring motorcycles ever built. And in 2026, Indian has pushed it even further. More refined, more luxurious, more extreme. So the question is this the ultimate touring motorcycle money can buy? Or is it simply too much for the average rider? Because once you step into what this machine offers, you might realize it's not just a motorcycle. It's an experience. At the heart of the 2026 Indian Roadmaster Elite is the legendary Thunderstroke 116 V-twin engine, and this is where the magic begins. Massive torque, smooth delivery, effortless power. This isn't about speed, it's about presence. Twist the throttle, and the bike moves forward with a deep, commanding force that feels almost unstoppable. The power comes in low, strong, and consistent, making long-distance riding feel easy. This is an engine built for touring, built for carrying weight, covering miles, and doing it all without stress. And that signature V-twin sound? It's rich, deep, and unmistakably American. This isn't just performance, it's character. What if the perfect American touring cruiser didn't come from Milwaukee, but from its biggest rival? Meet the 2026 Indian Springfield Edition, a motorcycle that blends classic heritage with modern performance in a way that feels almost too good to be true. At first glance, it looks like a tribute to old-school American motorcycling. Chrome everywhere, sweeping fenders, and a presence that demands attention. But don't let that vintage charm fool you, because underneath that timeless design lies serious performance and cutting-edge engineering. This isn't just a cruiser, it's a statement. And here's the crazy part. It might be one of the most balanced, versatile, and refined bikes in its entire category. So the question is, did Indian just build a better touring cruiser than Harley? Or is this just another premium machine with a classic look? Because once you take a closer look at what the Springfield Edition really offers, things get very interesting. Let's talk about the heart of the 2026 Indian Springfield Edition, because this is where the magic begins. Powered by the legendary Thunderstroke 116 V-twin engine, this machine delivers massive low-end torque that defines the American cruiser experience. We're talking about around 126 feet lbs of torque, delivered early, smooth, and effortlessly. Twist the throttle, and the bike responds with a deep, powerful surge that feels almost unstoppable. This isn't about high-speed racing, it's about commanding the road. The power delivery is smooth, predictable, and incredibly satisfying. And that signature V-twin sound? It's deep, rich, and unmistakably bold. This is an engine that doesn't just perform, it makes a statement. Every ride feels powerful, every acceleration feels meaningful, and that's what makes it so addictive. What if one Harley-Davidson could do everything, cruising, touring, and even a bit of sport riding, without compromise? Meet the 2026 Harley-Davidson Sport Glide, a machine that quietly breaks the rules while everyone else is busy chasing extremes. At first glance, it looks like a classic cruiser. Low stance, muscular tank, clean lines. But look closer and you'll notice something different. This isn't just about style, it's about versatility. And here's the shocking part. This might be one of the most underrated motorcycles Harley has ever built. It's not the biggest, it's not the loudest, but it might just be the smartest. Because instead of focusing on one thing, it does everything surprisingly well. So the question is, did Harley accidentally create the perfect all-rounder? Or is this just a compromise that doesn't fully satisfy anyone? Because once you understand what this bike is capable of, you might start seeing it in a completely different way. Let's talk about the heart of the 2026 Harley-Davidson Sport Glide, because this is where things get serious. Powered by the Milwaukee 8107 V-twin engine, this bike delivers strong, usable torque that defines the Harley experience. We're talking about that deep, satisfying pull the moment you twist the throttle. It's not about chasing high RPMs, it's about effortless power. The kind that makes cruising feel easy and overtaking feel instant. And that signature Harley rumble? It's all there, deep, rich, and unmistakable. This is an engine that doesn't just move you, it connects with you. Every acceleration feels deliberate, every ride feels alive, and that's what makes it so addictive. What if a factory motorcycle looked like it rolled straight out of a custom chopper garage but came with Honda reliability? Meet the 2026 Honda Fury VT 1300 CX Special, a bike that looks like it shouldn't exist in mass production, yet somehow does. The moment you see it, you realize this isn't a normal cruiser. The stretched front end, the raked-out fork, the ultra-low stance. It looks like something built for a show, not the street. But here's the crazy part. It's 100% street legal, fully engineered, and ready to ride every day. Honda didn't just design a motorcycle here. They built a statement, a machine that ignores trends and embraces pure attitude. And in a world where most bikes are starting to look the same, the Fury stands out in the most extreme way possible. So the question is this the boldest factory chopper ever made? Or is it just too radical for everyday riders? Because once you understand what this bike really offers, you might start seeing it in a completely different way. Let's talk about what powers this wild machine, the heart of the 2026 Honda Fury VT 1300 CX Special. At its core sits a 1,312cc liquid-cooled V-twin engine, and while it may not chase massive horsepower numbers, it delivers something far more important: torque. Smooth, steady, and incredibly satisfying torque that hits right where you need it. Twist the throttle, and the bike responds with a deep, controlled surge that feels perfectly matched to its laid-back character. This isn't about speed, it's about presence. It's about feeling the engine work beneath you, delivering power in a way that's smooth and predictable. And that's what makes it so enjoyable. Whether you're cruising through the city or rolling down an open road, the engine feels relaxed, confident, and always ready. And that signature V-twin rumble? It's deep, rich, and unmistakably cruiser. This isn't just an engine, it's part of the bike's identity. What if a cruiser could embarrass sport bikes at the traffic light and still be comfortable enough to ride all day? Meet the 2026 Honda Rebel 1100, a machine that completely rewrites what a modern cruiser is supposed to be. At first glance, it looks simple, low, blacked out, minimalist. But don't let that fool you, because underneath that clean design is something seriously unexpected. This isn't just another laid-back cruiser. This is a performance machine hiding in plain sight. And here's the crazy part. Honda didn't just make it faster. They made it smarter, more refined, and more versatile than ever before. It's the kind of bike that feels just as comfortable cruising through the city as it does blasting down the highway. And that raises a serious question. Is this still a cruiser, or is it something completely different? Because once you understand what this bike can actually do, you might start questioning everything you thought you knew about cruiser motorcycles. Let's talk about the heart of the 2026 Honda Rebel 1100, because this is where things get wild. Powered by a 1084cc parallel twin engine derived from Honda's performance lineup, this bike delivers serious power. We're talking about around 90 horsepower and strong, immediate torque that hits hard and early. Twist the throttle, and the response is instant. No hesitation. No delay. Just pure acceleration that feels way too aggressive for something that looks this relaxed. And that's what makes it so exciting. This isn't your typical cruiser engine. It's lively, responsive, and surprisingly quick. Whether you're pulling away from a stoplight or overtaking on the highway, it delivers performance that genuinely surprises you. And the best part? It's smooth, refined, easy to control. This is power you can actually use. What if one of the most underrated cruisers on the road was secretly one of the most satisfying bikes you could ride every single day? Meet the Yamaha Bolt R Blue, a motorcycle that doesn't scream for attention, doesn't rely on flashy tech, and doesn't try to impress with crazy numbers, yet somehow ends up doing all of that anyway. At first glance, it looks simple, almost too simple. A clean, stripped-down design with a deep blue finish that feels both classic and modern at the same time. But here's the twist. This bike isn't trying to be anything other than what it is, and that's exactly why it works. In a world where motorcycles are getting bigger, more complex, and overloaded with features, the Bolt R Blue takes a completely different path. It focuses on the basics, the feel, the ride, the connection. And once you experience it, you realize something shocking. This isn't just a beginner-friendly cruiser. This is a machine that even experienced riders can't stop enjoying. So the question is this Yamaha's best-kept secret? Or is it the most underrated cruiser of its class? Let's talk about what truly defines the Yamaha Bolt R Blue, its engine. Sitting at the heart of this machine is a 942cc air-cooled V-twin, and while that might not sound extreme on paper, the way it delivers power is what makes it special. This isn't about chasing top speed or high RPM thrills. This is about torque, immediate, satisfying low-end torque that hits the moment you twist the throttle. The power delivery is smooth, predictable, and incredibly enjoyable. You don't need to push it hard to feel it. You just ride, and it responds. And that's what makes it so addictive. Every acceleration feels controlled but meaningful. Every twist of the throttle reminds you that this bike is alive. And then there's the sound, that deep, unmistakable V-twin rumble that gives the Bolt R its personality. It's not overly loud, but it's definitely present. This is the kind of engine that doesn't try to impress you with numbers. It wins you over with feeling. What if one of the most underrated cruisers suddenly evolved into a full-blown touring machine without anyone noticing? Meet the 2026 Suzuki Intruder M800T, a motorcycle that quietly steps into the spotlight and completely changes the game. At first glance, it looks familiar. Classic cruiser stance, low seat, clean lines, but look closer, and you start to realize something different is going on. This isn't just a cruiser anymore. This is a purpose-built touring machine designed for real-world riders. The kind of bike that doesn't scream for attention, but earns it the moment you ride it. And here's the shocking part. It might just be one of the most balanced, practical, and enjoyable bikes you can buy in 2026. No crazy horsepower numbers. No over-the-top technology. Just a perfectly tuned machine that delivers exactly what you need. So the question is, did Suzuki just create the ultimate everyday touring cruiser? Or is this still one of the best-kept secrets in the motorcycle world? Let's start with the heart of the 2026 Suzuki Intruder M800T, because this is where its true character comes to life. Powered by an 805cc V-twin engine, this bike is all about smooth, reliable torque. It's not trying to dominate the spec sheet, it's built for real riding. Twist the throttle, and you get a steady, controlled surge of power that feels natural and predictable. No sudden spikes, no aggressive bursts. Just smooth acceleration that makes every ride enjoyable. And that's exactly what you want in a touring cruiser. The torque comes in low, making it perfect for city riding, while still offering enough power for comfortable highway cruising. And that signature V-twin rumble? It's there, deep, steady, and satisfying. This isn't about speed, it's about feel. And once you experience it, you understand why simplicity still works. What if BMW decided to take everything they know about precision engineering and turn it into a dark, aggressive cruiser? Meet the 2026 BMW R18 Black, a motorcycle that doesn't just challenge American cruisers, it goes straight after them. The moment you see it, you know this isn't a typical BMW. The massive boxer engine, the stretched silhouette, the blacked-out finish that gives it an almost sinister presence. This is not subtle. This is BMW making a statement. And here's the shocking part. It's not just about looks. Underneath that bold design is a machine built for serious riding, smooth power, advanced engineering, and a level of refinement you wouldn't expect from something this muscular. So the question is, did BMW just create the ultimate premium cruiser? Or is this a bold experiment that tries to do too much? Because once you start looking closer, things get very interesting. Let's talk about the heart of the 2026 BMW R18 Black, because this is where it truly stands apart. That massive 1,802cc boxer twin engine isn't just big, it's iconic. The horizontally opposed cylinders give it a unique character, both visually and mechanically. Twist the throttle and you feel a deep, powerful surge of torque that arrives low and strong. This isn't high-revving performance, it's about effortless power. Smooth, controlled, and incredibly satisfying. And that signature boxer movement? You feel it. A subtle shift that reminds you, this engine is alive. This isn't just power, it's personality. And once you experience it, it's hard to forget. What if one of the most classic cruisers ever made quietly returned, smoother, darker, and more refined than ever before? Meet the 2026 Honda Shadow Black Spirit 750, a motorcycle that doesn't chase attention, but somehow earns it anyway. At first glance, it looks familiar. Low stance, blacked-out styling, clean lines. But look closer, and you'll realize this isn't just a throwback. This is Honda taking everything riders loved about the Shadow and refining it for a new generation. And here's the shocking part. It's not trying to compete with high-performance cruisers. It's not trying to overwhelm you with technology. Instead, it focuses on something far more important: balance. Smooth power, comfortable riding, and an experience that feels effortless from the moment you start the engine. So the real question is, did Honda just perfect the everyday cruiser? Or is this simply nostalgia dressed up in modern styling? Because once you ride it, you might start to understand why simple still wins. Let's talk about the heart of the 2026 Honda Shadow Black Spirit 750, because this is where its magic really begins. Powered by a 745cc liquid-cooled V-twin engine, this bike isn't about aggressive power. It's about smoothness. The kind of smoothness that makes every ride feel effortless. Twist the throttle, and instead of a sudden burst, you get a steady, controlled flow of power that builds naturally. It's predictable, it's refined, and it's incredibly satisfying. This is the kind of engine that doesn't demand your attention. It earns your trust. Whether you're riding through city traffic or cruising on the highway, it delivers exactly what you need without any drama, and that's what makes it so special. It's not trying to impress you with numbers, it's trying to make your ride better, and honestly, it succeeds. The 2026 Honda GL1800 Goldwing Tour DCT Airbag pushes the boundaries of what a touring motorcycle can be. At first glance, it's sleek, large, and undeniably premium, but beneath that refined exterior lies groundbreaking innovation. Most notably, it features a built-in airbag system, a rare addition that elevates rider safety to an entirely new level. Beyond safety, this machine is packed with advanced technology, including a smooth dual-clutch automatic transmission that makes long-distance riding effortless. Every detail is designed with comfort and luxury in mind, turning extended journeys into a relaxing experience rather than a challenge. But this level of sophistication raises an interesting question. Is it the ultimate evolution of touring motorcycles, or does it go too far for riders who prefer simplicity? Either way, the Goldwing Tour stands apart, offering a riding experience that feels closer to a high-end touring vehicle than a traditional motorcycle. At the heart of the 2026 Honda GL1800 Goldwing Tour DCT Airbag is a 1833cc flat-six engine, and this is where its true character comes to life. Renowned for exceptional smoothness, this engine delivers power in a way that feels effortless and refined. There's virtually no vibration or harshness, just a seamless flow of power that enhances every mile. When you twist the throttle, the bike responds with precision, gliding forward in a calm and controlled manner. It's not about aggressive acceleration or raw intensity. Instead, it's about delivering performance with elegance and consistency. This refined power delivery is exactly what long-distance riders appreciate. It reduces fatigue, increases comfort, and makes extended journeys feel more relaxed. In a touring machine built for covering serious miles, this kind of smooth, predictable performance isn't just desirable, it's essential.